everyone, and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you two of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now, before we get stuck into that, I just want to go through a few things with you. First of all, I want to apologise for not giving you any winners here on my YouTube channel for the UK racing today. Both our selections were pretty dismal, to be honest with you. Tornado Queen was a bit unlucky, I thought, in running at one point, but in the end I don't think she would have been good enough on the day to have been involved, at least for the places, so that was frustrating there. And also as well, Mama Said Knock You Out was very weak before the betting. Not really sure why they decided to go from the front early on. That would have never suited the horse. If you looked at her previous start, she'd been tracking the pace before, and on paper there looked like there would be quite a lot of front runners, but yeah, it didn't seem to peter out as it looked like it could have on paper, so a little bit disappointing there. And also as well, Kempton might not have been her track as well, as she's shown her best form so far at Lingfield. So yeah, disappointing day there from the UK tips. However, if you're able to back my Hong Kong tips, which I recorded on Monday with Shireen Wu on her YouTube channel, and also as well my co-host from the In the Saddle podcast, Mark Karosky, we were able to land the triple trio. So that means there's a series of races out in Hong Kong that you can bet through in the triple trio out there on the Hong Kong Jockey Club tote. And yeah, I was able to find all three of the winners. Now, I will admit a couple of them were towards the head of the betting, but when I previewed it the other day, we had no prices to work with, you know, so I'm happy I was able to find three winners there. I saw some of you backed them in a Trixie, and also as well a couple of you backed them in a treble as well, so I hope some of you were able to back some of those tips, and it means that if you did, you would have had a nice little win there. And there was a link to it in the description box below, and I'll be doing more of those previews moving forward with Shireen. I've been on her YouTube channel a few times and always done pretty well over there. Maybe I should specialise in Hong Kong racing moving forward, as I seem to be doing a little bit better over there at the moment. But it's been a bit of an up and down time in racing here in the UK over the last few days. We got a lot of meetings that are getting abandoned. There's going to be some inspections tomorrow, so yeah, that's unfortunately chucked a few meetings away. Also as well, I should just say, if you haven't listened to the latest In the Saddle podcast episode, where I was with Mark again, and also as well our special guest Sam Martin from Rain It In Racing, we were reviewing all the Christmas racing action. There's links to it in the description box below. We've got all the major podcast platforms covered, including the likes of iTunes, SoundCloud and Spotify. So if you haven't listened to it already, just hit one of the links in the description box below. And I will be recording a brand new podcast episode tomorrow, where we'll be looking ahead to the weekend's racing with the likes of the reorganised Welsh National. There's also some rearranged racing at Kempton that they saved from Cheltenham, and also as well at Kempton we've got the Lanzarote Hurdle, which is a race I always like to get my teeth stuck into every year, and I've got one as well for that. So yeah, if you want to listen to that, just make sure you follow the In the Saddle podcast Twitter page, where the handle is in the Saddle Pod, and also as well just stay aware for the links in the description box, which will probably be out for the new episode, I imagine, on Friday's video. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, enough of all the promotions there. Let's get then into the tips for tomorrow's racing, and fingers crossed we can be back amongst the winners here in the UK. Now, like I said, there's going to be some inspections around tomorrow. We've already lost Musselburgh, so that's a shame there. So for my nap tomorrow, we're going to be going to Southwell, where there shouldn't be no problems with the weather, obviously, because it's going to be racing on the all-weather, on the fibre sand. And at Seville tomorrow, we go to the 145 for my nap here, with a horse called Pivotal Decision. You can currently back this horse at the time of recording at 10-3, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet here for PJ McDonald and James Tate. Now, James Tate's going great guns at the moment. You might remember we actually put a horse up of his last week at Newcastle, which provided us with a winning nap, and I'm hoping we can do the same here. He's actually operating at a 50% strike rate at the moment, so the yard are in really good form. Now, this filly tomorrow, she's a 4-year-old, and she's going to be making her handicap debut off a mark of 66. She's a bit of a late bloomer, you know. We only saw her towards the end of last year on the race course, but she has hinted at some ability. She's made the frame on her last couple of starts, and I thought she was quite eye-catching last time at Wolverhampton, where she ran on really strongly in the closing stages after getting outpaced. That race was over 7 furlongs, and tomorrow she's going to be making her 5% debut, and also as well she's going to be stepping up in trip, which looks at a good move. Also as well, if you look at the pedigree, she's actually she's got some 5% winners in her pedigree. Highland Dress was a winner on this surface, so that should be okay. And also as well, Pivotal, her sire, has got not a bad record on the 5% at Seville. So in her breeding, it suggests tomorrow that she should be able to handle this surface, no problem. Don't think it looks a particularly strong race. There's going to be a few horses in here that like to be handy and prominent. If they go a good gallop, it could just set up quite nicely for a Pivotal Decision, who I'm hoping will just track the leaders, and I think she'll come with a late turn of foot, and I think off a mark of 66 it looks very workable from what she's achieved so far, because actually the last race, as I mentioned, at Wolverhampton had featured a subsequent winner, and he's now rated 78, so it doesn't look a bad mark at all. I think this horse will go very close, and I thought 10-3 was an attractive looking price there. We then go with my next best to the jumps meeting at Ffos Las. Now, the reason this is my next best, it probably would have been my nap, but the reason it is because they are going to be hosting an inspection in the morning, so fingers crossed it does go ahead. But I really like the chances of Don Herbager in the 328 for Charlie Deutsch and Venetia Williams. Now, at the current time of recording, you can back this horse at 4-1, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bets here. Now, this horse has done quite well so far since going over fences. He finished second at Lingfield on his first ever start, where he bumped into a John Joe O'Neill horse called Hang Tough, who really was tough that day. The pair were miles clear of the rest, and that was in quite testing ground. He then went on to Ffos Las next time out, over slightly shorter. That was over 2.5 miles at Ffos Las last time, whereas previously at Lingfield it was 2 miles 7. And in the race at Ffos Las, if you just look at it, he travelled really well, but he just looked like he got outpaced, and he was doing a lot of his best work late on, suggesting he probably a horse that stays all day and just needs a really long trip. So going back up in trip should help. Ground shouldn't be a problem. Venetia's horses are running quite well, and this horse has got a mark of 89. I still think that's fairly workable, and I expect this horse to go very close tomorrow. And I think if racing does go ahead at Ffos Las, I think he'll be a short price come post time. So yeah, they're going to be the two tips for tomorrow's race, and Don Herbager is in the 328 at Ffos Las. So just do a quick recap then for you guys. In the 145 at Seville is the nap with Pivotal Decision, 10-3, 1-point win bet, and then the next best runs in the 328 if it does go ahead at Ffos Las, 4-1 win only bet, 1 point, and that is Don Herbager. So yeah, they're the two tips for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate all the support you give me. Also as well, if you haven't subscribed here to my YouTube channel, make sure you do by just hitting that subscribe button. Also as well, if you want to follow me on social media, the best place to do so is on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself and about my career in racing, my website is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please game responsibly. Hopefully we can have a couple of winners tomorrow, and I'll be seeing you soon.